So, originally I thought it was going to be the biggest change to the game since the AK. I thought that it was going to dramatically change the game. I thought everything was going to be different. So yesterday, I did some testing off stream. Because I wasn't sure how it was going to play out, and I just wanted to, know it was up. So, I spent a lot of time in the gas yesterday. The first 1, 2, even 3 tiers of gas, you don't have to stack first aid. And there's something weird. So basically I ran and spent all this time looting. And the gas came, and the safe zone was out of Pleasant Valley. But I spent at least 2 or 3 updates looting Pleasant Valley in the gas, never using more than 1 first aid. What I couldn't figure out, and I just never thought to test this before, if the initial area of gas doesn't actually increase in potency. Because I was looting office buildings in the gas, and I would use 1 first aid, and it would tick up, and I would heal to 100, and I'd run into the next office building, and the next office building, and the next office building. It was just office building after office building, only using 1 first aid at a time. I never had to stack first aid in the gas. So, whereas originally I thought, oh, people are going to really have to avoid the gas because there's no more stacking first aid. The reality is that you don't have to stack first aid in the early stages of the gas. You don't have to at all. So it doesn't change the early gameplay at all. I thought people were going to have to move and get into the safe zone sooner, but no. Now, late game gas is insane. Late game gas, you absolutely have to stack. So I think late game will still be dramatically impacted because you have to always stay ahead of the gas late game. But I was really annoyed that the early game gas does so little damage. A single first aid makes it completely negates the early game threat of gas. So there's really no change to the early game whatsoever. And I don't know if people will not immediately realize that, and if they'll try to play a little bit safer, or if they don't have sneakers or a vehicle, maybe they'll worry about their ability to get into position for later game gas. But yeah, it doesn't. It really doesn't do much at all. So I think the change. Is this really not going to spawn ammo? Alright, whatever. So I was surprised. I thought it was gonna be awesome, and I was super stoked that like people weren't gonna be gas walking. But I spent a lot of time yesterday off stream playing around in the gas, and if this update, if this game is off Pleasant Valley, I'll be able to show you what I mean, and I probably will because the games have been so sort of troll anyway. Especially if I get sneakers. Sneakers are like amazing for gas walking. And I think they're still going to be amazing for gas walking, which makes me a little sad. I was really hoping people are going to be pushed by the gas sooner. All that means, is that they just have to do something to make the gas a little bit more threatening. I think the gas should still tighten faster, and I think that the gas should start doing more damage, because not being able to stack first aid is designed to get people to get out of the gas. But it doesn't accomplish what it's set out to do, because the early game, you can still spend as long as you want in the gas. If this update is outside of Pleasant Valley, I'll be able to show you exactly what I mean. Especially, So, in the event that you're asking, well, why did you close all those doors? Something that I think is underplayed in this game. I mean, it doesn't really take me any much more time to close doors on the way out like that, but now if somebody comes to that building, and they waste time because, one, they think somebody's in the building, or two, they think that it's not looted and they go up. Both of those things are hugely advantageous to me. If somebody's spending time in a building that I've already cleared, then that is a win for me. So, one of the reasons, I always joke with people, I always loot extra sneakers. I always loot extra sneakers. The joke is that, you know, when I die to a team, I'll have sneakers for their entire team. But the other part of that is that if I loot other sneakers, then somebody else can't get them. Just like you take spark plugs out of a vehicle, I take sneakers off a shelf. All of those are delay tactics that make the game longer for somebody else and put you in a better position. The game really does come down to positioning and delays, so, you know, who knows if that's going to make them stay in the gas longer or going to otherwise delay their ability to loot. But if they're confused by what they see, if they don't know what it looks like, always, always, always be looking outside of buildings. Especially when there's gunfire. More often than not, you can get an angle and, you know, contribute there. Now we got 2 dead bodies to look at over there. So yeah, the delay tactics are real, man. You know, like, it's worth taking there we go, sneakers. Alright, so with these fast feet boys... Double loot bag, okay. Just wanted to make sure that they both actually died. Gunwoo just went crazy. And then died. So see how the update is out of Pleasant Valley? I'll be able to show you exactly what I mean. There's a lot of office buildings I can still loot. So I'll spend some time in the gas, but watch how one medkit is able to completely negate the gas. And how it will meet... So basically what that means is that it's not going to change the early game at all. People are still going to be able to live in the gas if they want to. Kind of makes me sad, but, you know, it's the reality of the game right now, so you gotta be ready for it. We're gonna have... I'll show... There's plenty to loot. And people are gonna be going south, so I'm gonna start... We're gonna do this one more office building on the south, and then I'm gonna head north. So that we're in position. Safe zone is on the other side of the map and can't find a medikit or two. Try to run over there in the 3-minute mark. For instance, landing in Eastwood and having to run to PV. Yeah, I mean, there are a couple, like, counterintuitive strategies that... I say counterintuitive because I don't see other streamers do it. I don't know if other players do it and they're just not streamers. But I think that there's a lot of value in running into positions that are counterintuitive. So if this, like, running to the circle makes sense, everybody's running to the circle. But there are times where, if you're in wilderness camp, for example, and the police car is not there, or you aren't able to get the police car, somebody else drives off with it. What I like to do is run south, all the way to that south highway, because that south highway gives you the opportunity to find vehicles and biofuel. So, from Wilderness Camp, if the update's in Pleasant Valley and I'm in Wilderness Camp without a car, I don't want to run to Pleasant Valley. I want to run south, in the opposite direction, to the highway to get cars. It's, you know, most people don't run that way anyway, and if the update's north, most people aren't running that way. We heard somebody get out over there. square of destiny. Sneakers make you a lot faster, Johnny. A lot faster. Way faster. So much faster. Like, not a little bit, a lot bit. I love this little medkit. That's a high probability spawn right there. So there aren't a ton of people left already, but whatever. I still want to make my point. Yeah, dude, just sneakers. I mean, the tan work boots and whatever, work boots are just meh. Everybody goes barefoot, but sneakers make you so fast. Tommy, I'll grab that for. Oh, never mind. These games at this hour are really strange. People die so much differently than they do, you know, prime time, Eastern Standard Time. We are already full. We have way too. Okay, so at this point, problem is the AR. We don't want that anyway. We really don't. There we go. Another high probability spawn, second floor at the end of that little cubicle. Hey dude. A lot of little... little things about the game, you know? Like, they make you so fast that running barefoot after you've had sneakers is just, it's like a, it's, once you've had sneakers, you never want to go back. So the update this time is south, but I'm going to be making a point, which is why I'm heading north. These store buildings, these corners right here, alright, so we're 1 for 1. Two for 2. Did I get my waist back? Yeah, that's another reason that your capacity might be a little bit lower is you don't have a waist pack. The waist pack adds 200 capacity, so it's always worth looting a waist pack. Alright, so we're in the gas right now. This is the point I wanted to make. I have 28 first aid already. I have 28, but at this point in the game, rather than go to the safe zone, alright, 3 for 3. This is what I was saying too. These storefronts, I've been into 3, and I've gotten 4 first aids so far. Without even checking these back rooms. The back rooms are more likely to have Molotovs and frag grenades than they are to have first aid. But I've been in 3 stores, and I've gotten 4 first aid. Five stores, 5 first aid. This is the first store that doesn't have first aid, but it has... Okay, I guess it just has a molly. Oh, no, it does. So, 6 stores, 6 first aid. We were up to 31 from 28, so we're plus 3. Oh, another one. 7 stores, 7 first aid. Or is that 6 stores, 7 first aid? Either way, you can see the point that I'm making. It always felt like these had a lot, but as I count it out loud, it becomes very apparent that these are absolutely worth checking. Oh, another one. So remember that too. This little store area, every single one had at least 1 first aid, and 1 had 2. So that's exceptionally worthwhile. And notice I'm not stacking first aid to stay in the gas. 1 first aid, and I continue to tick up. I'm up to 97. There's 27 players left. I'm not sure why that little ring of stores has so much. Alright, another one. So we started at 28 first aid, and right now we have 32, so we're plus 4. For staying in the gas, we're actually plus 4 first aid so far. If these buildings haven't been looted, these always have good first aid. There's first aid. More ammo. First aid. Oop, backup sneakers. At this point, I'm not... So normally I would grab that other pair of sneakers, but right now I'm getting so much first aid, and I don't think anybody else is in the gas. I don't need to steal it away from anybody else, and I don't need it for myself, and I want to carry more first aid, so... I'm not going to grab the backup sneakers yet. Now we're on this... Now they're releasing another set of gas. Another one. Each medkit ticks for 60 seconds. So, as long as you're getting medkits at faster than 1 a minute, which we have been doing, we'll be at 35, so we're plus 7 so far by staying in the gas. And good sneakers downstairs. Just, you know, checking that for reference, not actually to grab them. So not only does this become worth it for grenades and for first aid, you know, everyone else is killing each other. So this strategy is what I think they were trying to change when they, you know, made it so you can't stack first aid. Oh, another one. But because these office buildings have so much first aid, and because 1 is still out healing the gas, I haven't been stacking first aid. I'm just popping 1, waiting a minute, popping another, and I'm finding them at a clip of more than 1 a minute. So I'm increasing my stash. The second floor, historically speaking, anecdotally speaking, has less. That could have been sneakers too, but it's not. Alright, so somebody else is now just leaving the gas. You hear that? He's going the wrong way, which is very strange. Unless he's doing exactly what I'm doing. Which is recognizing that the gas doesn't matter. And looting this first aid. There he goes. Very strange. Strange to be doing it in a vehicle. I prefer to do it on foot. Well, with sneakers. So, we don't have to stack. We just keep looting. These gray buildings have less first aid than the office buildings, but they still have a good chance for it. So at this point, I'm about to have to pop another one in a second. There it goes. We're up to 38, so we've made 10 so far, and we only have to run right over there. So the other thing that you want to do is make sure that the circle doesn't get too far away from you. But every time I find 1 first aid, I've bought myself another full minute. Remember, I'm plus 10 doing this. And the gas still doesn't hurt. We have, if we if we cared about AR or shotgun, I mean, we'd be getting more ammo. I do care about a little bit more AK, that's fine. I don't need both stacks of that. On the roof here, the chances are in the top corner here. This is usually where the first aid spawns in these gray buildings. We'll check our neighbor just because. We're coming up on another minute, so there it is. Pop another one. Gas is being released again, and we still don't care. It's still a relatively short run with sneakers. You know, barefoot I would have left already. Another first aid. I don't need... I'm not one of those, you know, there are certain streamers who will have 700 AK ammo. I just never do that. I don't need that much. What I need is room for first aid. First aid is more valuable than... I mean, over 300 ammo is infinite ammo anyway. You're gonna unload and reload 10 full clips without getting ammo in between. That seems insanely unlikely. Alright, so we'll do one more building. Just to make the point. No. As you can sort of see from my running through these buildings here in Pleasant Valley, this is where all of the first aid spawns. And what happens, there's a fixed number of spawn points. They increased the number of spawn points in the game. We got up to 40, by the way, so we were plus 12. Now the gas is... Now we're starting to feel the gas. So we're just going to go to the top, check for that top first aid, then we're going to start to go. Actually, no, we're still out healing it. Never mind, boys. I was going to say we're starting to feel the gas, but nope, one first aid still ticking up. Was at 92, and I'm now at 95. So they increased the number of spawn points, and there's a fixed number of first aid that will spawn, or there's a maximum number of first aid that will spawn in the game. So with that, now that there are more spawn points, there are so many spawn points in Pleasant Valley, as the loot sort of like circles out to the other side of the map, the fact that there's a probability for all of these spawns here, mean that by the time it gets out there, there's no first aid left to spawn. So that's why it doesn't go on the outskirts of the map anymore. Pretty much outside this right here, you won't find first aid. Because there are so many spawn points in this little area here, that all of this and all of this are outside of that. There's just no first aid left to spawn. So now we have a very, very long run. We made it up to 40 first aid from 28. Let's see. And right now, one first aid, not stacking, one first aid is still out healing the gas. So now, I can kind of eat my breakfast while running basically safely through an abandoned gas-filled world. We have sneakers, we're fast. We're still out healing the gas. I mean, pretty much every minute we're gonna need to tick another one, but that's how it goes. So how many minutes away are we, and was all of this worth it? Well, this isn't how you want to play. But this is a demonstration that the fact that they're changing stacking and first aid doesn't really matter. Because we were able to live in the gas for as long as we did. So, part of the question is, how well do you know the map? There is a part of the gorge, should be right over here, that allows me to get up and on the other side of the gorge. There you go. One first aid kit, guys. One first aid. We're still ticking up. Eating breakfast. It is going to be on the other side of the mountain, which is not ideal. Not ideal. Hmm. 14 players remain. Missed it, sorry. Ooh, okay. Still ticking up. One first aid. Part of the gorge is a little bit tricky. Tricky. Yeah, it's not gonna go. Not gonna go. Alright, let's just go around. Plenty of time. Might have to go a little bit further around, actually. So, when I was coming at this, I sort of missed the spot that I was aiming for, but that's okay. I'm, you know, like I said, I'm eating breakfast, so what do you expect me? So, you know, would I ever play this way intentionally? No. I mean, I think this is incredibly boring. But I also think that one of the reasons that they introduced the changes to the way that first aid works really with respect to the gas. I mean, first aid stacking does two things. It allows you to live in the gas, and it allows you to rapidly recover from fights. If you're rapidly recovering from a fight, you can still stack bandages. So you can do 2, 3, 4 bandages and pop a first aid. The first aid, 11 players left. The first aid does now override bandages, so if they are ticking, they can't be ticking in the background and then allow a first aid to take in. So I guess they have slightly increased the recovery time. But realistically, they did they did almost nothing with regard to the gas, right? How many iterations of the gas is this? I mean, one first aid and we're still going to be fine. I mean, we still have a bit of a run here. We're in F7, so we're right here. We started all of this with 28, and right now we have 34. So right now we're only +6. And I'd argue that by the time we get there, we will probably be at 28 or fewer first aid. But at the same time, if the circle had been updating differently, or, you know, I let it go a little bit... if I left a little bit sooner, you can see the power of this strategy. Not that it's a strategy that anyone would ever want to use, But it is completely viable, which is kind of strange. Okay, here we go. Now the gas is starting to hurt. I am gonna pop a bandage because I don't want to, I don't want this to, like, end up in disaster. I do want to get back into the field of play. Ooh, whoa, 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 whoa. And there is a path here. Or is it a little bit further? Might be a little bit further this way. There is a path up the mountain that is a little less taken. So, as you can see, now that we're getting closer, what I feel like is that the previous gas doesn't get any stronger. It's only the new gas that gets stronger. So now we're going to be running into the new gas. Apparently I do need to stack first aid. Very, very interesting. But you can stack a whole bunch of first aid, run, pop a few more, run. Interesting observation there, huh? So it might just be that the newer gas is the stuff that hurts. And the old gas, you can sort of live in there forever. One of my first aid kits seems to be expiring. Maybe not. We're still at 100. But now you have to be a little bit more aware of your minute timer. You'll start to tick down pretty quick as soon as you start to expire. I'm hoping that 2 is still going to be plenty. Let's find out. So the other ones will expire, and I'll have 2 ticking. Oh. Alright, boys, so wasn't even paying attention. We made it out of the gas. So we're at right here right now. Alright, so there you go. I used 2 unnecessarily, and we're still at 28 first aid. So we started with 28 first aid, we made it out with 28 first aid, and now, there you go. Now we're out of the gas. And that, so we couldn't really test that outer perimeter gas if that had also been ratcheted up in intensity, or if it just was, you know, it seemed like it was, but I didn't spend another iteration in it, so I can't tell you precisely. And in F7, we want to go southeast. Okay, we want to go right to the tip of the lake here. So this water here, alright, they found each other right as I found them, so that was interesting. Ooh, baby. I will always stack first aid to recover, because it's a habit that I'm in right now. And here comes the gas a little bit, but this water right up here is safe. So at first I wasn't sure if those guys were teammates, or if they were fighting it out, and thankfully they were fighting it out. And as you can see, this gas is a very, very different beast from that last gas. When you're in the gas, so this is where the first aid stacking really comes into play. You're in the gas, you don't want to pop out into a firefight. This gas definitely hurts. And also, if you go up high, you can't see down into the gas. If you're down low, you can see up high. So taking the low position in the gas is usually in your best interest. Alright, this dude is, that guy's in a pretty strong position. And it's gonna end in the northwest. It's gonna end right over here. It's gonna end where I am. Maybe. Maybe. Or up here. One of these two places. It's gonna end around here, and we heard shots from down there. Couldn't see him. It's a little tough to see in the rain. I'd like to loot the blackberry bush, just to take it out of play. I don't use bushes, so I'd rather other people not be able to use bushes. People will still be able to do what we're doing now, which is pop up preventative first aid. All that does is if you get hit 3 times with the AK, then you're not going to bleed out. You'll have time, theoretically, to apply another first aid. That was not worth it. This guy. Kinda worth it. So we think it's going to be in the northwest. If we look at the map again, it should look like it's on the water, a little bit south of the water, a little bit north of the water, so we want to get closer to the water. Also, don't want to be too close next to the guys that we just killed. And that's what you call a little bit of desync there. That guy jumped out and was laggy as all everything. That was very scary. It was very scary, guys. So the boys shooting it out down there. Somebody could come up from behind us. Don't love that. Free to our back. Helps with that a little bit. There's a guy in the water. Yeah. Got him. Alright, so sitting still like this is a terrible idea if there's anyone behind us. And the sooner we can get another sense of where the map is now, it's on the southeast side. So I don't take a flaming car, don't risk it, don't care. And now these 2 shots are up here. There's 3 players left, so these guys shooting at each other. Now it's 1v1. Now it is 1v1. Now the important thing in a 1v1 is getting eyes on them. Again, I don't really care about the gas. I'm just trying to get eyes on the bad guy. If I can get eyes on him, I can prevent a wide flank. I think he's somewhere right in front of me. Now where would it be? In these trees somewhere. Lovely. Alright, so I don't see him. I don't think he's seen me. We want to be in the southeast, so he probably has position. The other thing about a 1v1 is that you don't want to go in too recklessly. We don't know exactly where he is, but we have reason to believe he's not up the hill. He probably hasn't killed that guy. He probably had to kill that guy in bandage. That's usually how those fights go. There's a lot of shots. He's probably right down here in this mired muckety-muck stuff. Don't want to be too far away from the trees. The trees are cover, trees are your friend. Small chance he went like way wide. It is a little hard with the AK. It's hard to tell if he's like right in front of you or a little bit further out. We still have so much first aid. There's no reason to do anything other than pop first aid while we assess. I mean, if he's going on a super wide flank, good for him. That's a really smart play. My guess is that he's right in front of us while I'm talking. So there you go. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. AGG. How many kills did you have, dude? 755 ammo for the AR. I would never do that. 9 first aid kits. He had a motorcycle helmet too. Like, I don't understand why people this late game would ever have a motorcycle helmet. Doesn't make any sense to me, but there you go. Let's go blow up that cop car.